Well, we've been publishing the Sleepers Almanac for about 5 or 6 years now, and it occurred to us last year that the mobile phone and the short story are really perfect for each other, and we're very passionate short story readers. For me, I believe it's, the definitive writing challenge really for anybody who wants to write well, or read well for that matter. And by putting it on the mobile phone, or in such a way that it can be shared, in a global kind of environment, is just a fantastic opportunity, and I can't wait to see what happens.
I was actually having this conversation with someone that I work with at Overland magazine. We were talking about how it's just imperative for publishing to relate to digital media now, that there's no point kind of feeling sad and desolate about the good old days where you had the smell of an old book in your hands and so on. I think that if you want to engage with people, then digital media is a really important part of that. And I think a lot of people now, if they were starting a new publishing project, would start it online. But I think in a way the Almanac's got the best of both worlds, because there's that publishing history, that audience and that loyalty, but there's also their digital engagement. And it means that Sleepers can build outside of Melbourne and even outside of Australia in terms of finding an audience. I also think it's much more democratic in some instances, because you can comment and exchange and share the work. And in some ways it's almost like going right back to the time before the printing press, when people read stories aloud and writing wasn't ever seen as being a private encounter of one individual with a book in their hands. It was seen as a social activity. So I think that's actually pretty damn good.
I find the iPhone app project really wonderful and something to embrace for multiple reasons, but primarily for the dissolution of borders. Suddenly writing is not just something that has a postcode attached or has a coterie, a classroom, an almanac attached. It is much more of an open currency. But not wanting to get fiscal about it, I do embrace the idea that you mentioned about there being a much more of a almost a little bit medieval or Renaissance about this. It doesn't have to do with between which covers you find yourself. It's really just it's the whole world as one engaging village, and that's an exciting notion. And really, it's sort of new media fighting the power of fighting the good fight.
The iPhone application, let alone being a technological feat, is going to draw in people that will be able to skim through, I presume, and find things that they may not have the access to if they were walking around a city, a country. It's just a wonderful thing for Australian writers to get into the Northern Hemisphere, and I think that this will be one way in which it can happen in a easier, more seamless effort, and I think that that's got to be good for writing and for writers and publishers.
I think with an iPhone app, it's any whim can be catered to. So you're on a train, you're at a bus stop, you're thinking about writing, and you can just start scrolling through. So I think you're interested in, maybe you've read Stephen Amsterdam, you see who he's published by, you spiral on from that. So I think it will be a very, very easy way to reach more people.
Yeah, I think the mention of the train is a good one, because the iPhone app really allows you to access Sleepers anywhere. That's the beauty of the iPhone. That's the seductiveness of it. You can have fiction wherever you go. It's in your pocket.
I think it's going to be a really great sort of waterfall effect. I think it'll be fabulous.
I'm pretty excited about my story coming out on the new iPhone app. It's going to be interesting to see how people interact with that, I guess. I mean, it is a new form, and I think that will shape the way people write fiction as well, and the kinds of stories that they write for that form. So it's a pretty exciting time for digital publishing. I'm going to be really interested to see how that works and how that matures over the next few years.